years, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Lunch was served, which is always a lot of fun. Whenever you get to break bread inside the plushly acquainted Miller Electric Center, feels like victory. Victory in the mid-afternoon, and that was the case today. James Gladstone's got some zen, got a little bit of some Einstein in him. Perhaps you believe that. Liam Coen smiling away, just loving the fact that he is a head coach. It is. It's a breath of fresh air right now. Everything's great until this team loses a game. Was it Mike Tyson that says everything's fine until you get punched in the face? I mean, right now, everything is a honeymoon. And it's so warranted in these parts. But they're doing things a tad bit differently, and that's fine. Why not? I mean, find a way to create and turn around this losing franchise into a winning franchise. It wasn't a sensational day listening to the 34-year-old general manager as well as the 39-year-old head coach, but I still thought that there were some parts of it that were intriguing. There were some things that we learned today that was taking an extra step. So therefore it was worth it just for those two reasons, which I'll get to here momentarily. But do I feel any clearer at all that they're taking Mason Graham, that they're taking Jalen Walker, that they're trading up for Travis Hunter, that they're trading down and getting a wide receiver, whether it's McMillan or someone else, kind of the latest vibe, depending on who you listen to, with Genty? No. I don't feel any better about any of that today. They do a real smooth job about, being able to answer questions, but not giving you any intel at all about which direction they are looking. Overall, though, I thought it was certainly worth the trip. We're going to get into it here, beginning right now for the next couple of hours. As always, it's going to include your input. Okay, several ways you can join us. 641-1010 on the text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. Let's welcome those watching on YouTube. All right, just go to 1010XL into the night, and you can always get me on Twitter or X at Ballou1010XL. So plenty on the Jags. And what I liked, again, is trying to sound out Liam Coen. I mean, this is different. General managers throughout the course of the years, I don't want to define them as meat and potatoes or X's and O's, but kind of hard line is the way that I would look at GMs. Certainly, there are times where they're almost up on a pedestal. Okay, I once had a boss by the name of Mark Schwartz. He is passed on, but he was so ego-driven that this man would sit on a platform almost like he was a king, almost like he was an emperor. And he would have you come into his office and you would sit below him. It was his way of taking charge. It was his way. What it was is it really reeked of insecurity. And he had to have this stage built for himself so he could have that power over you. It was actually pretty hilarious back in the day. By the way, he fired me. I kind of deserved it, but life went on. General managers will do the same thing. They'll act like, how dare you ask me that question? Who are you to come at me? You don't know football. You don't know what is going on as far as the science of football compared to being able to trust the tape, compared to talking to scouts. talking to people who actually do know. You don't get any of that with this brass. This feels like a normal conversation, almost like a barroom conversation. The ego is very limited with James Gladstone. He talks differently, but it's because he's very intelligent. And he says things that you'll react like, what does he mean? What is he trying to say? And the intangibly rich comment has really taken on a life of its own. We learned more about that today, what it means to be intangibly rich. And one of those issues is certainly toughness, both mental and physical toughness. And if you think about it for a moment, it's brilliant because he's been able to figure this out in his short stint in Duval, and he figured it out when he was introduced. I hollered about a lot of things that bother me with this football team. Nothing has bothered me more than the way that this group, the way that the coaches and the players reacted on any given Sunday. They appeared to not care if they lost. They were very comfortable with losing. There were excuses made for losing. And you couldn't go 5 minutes without being told, well, we were one possession away. Well, we lost 10 games by 1%. The acceptance of losing happened. And James Gladstone, even though he was across the country in Los Angeles, figured that out. I don't know how he figured that out. Maybe he did so by talking with Tony Baselli. Maybe he did so with talking with Ethan Waugh. Maybe he did so with talking with anyone else within the Miller Electric Center who would answer these questions. But he figured it out. And I never really even considered that with an incoming general manager. I hoped for that to take place with a coach on the field. Certainly the new offensive line coach. I mean, 3 years ago, we were told that Phil Rauscher was the second coming of it all, right? That he was going to be absolutely outstanding. And it just never worked out for Phil Rauscher. But that's what you have with Gladstone. He was able to identify the biggest problem culture-wise with this team. They're not tough. They're not physically tough. And more importantly, perhaps, they're not mentally tough. Okay? And they checked out. The coaches checked out. Players checked out. That's why this football team has gotten rid of so many different guys. That is why this football team has not brought back one of their unrestricted free agents. They've only signed as a restricted free agent. And actually, they tendered that offer for Cole Van Lannon. That's it. I mean, the message was crystal clear. If you're a starter or you're hanging on to a massive contract like the bad free agent signings of a year ago, you're still going to be a part of things. But if you're midway through or the bottom part of the roster and you've been a part of that cloud that has been here, you're gone. Anyway, I want you to hear it yourself. Let's get to James Gladstone today. This is a part of it, of the intangibly rich, and his way of describing how he wants his football players to be mentally and physically tough.
Something that's been very clear to both Liam and I, and it's something that we both value innately, is physical and mental toughness. And I know that probably was apparent, and that just by default, the offensive line and defensive line, that breeds that sort of mentality and that type of play. We prioritized addressing offensive line through pro free agency, and I think we'll continue to do that throughout the draft, but I don't think we're limited at the fronts, right? That stuff should show up at all levels of our offensive and defensive operation, and clearly on special teams, that's always going to remain at the forefront. But those two elements in tandem is really a real combination that we covet. And I think you'll hear just about every time that Liam steps to a podium, he's going to mention some version of physical and mental toughness as really what he's hunting up.
Brilliant. Jaguar fans, you should be thrilled to hear these comments because you know and I know there are so many things that need to be fixed. You could say the number one priority is to fix Trevor Lawrence, and no one's going to argue. Then you could go on and say, well, they got to run the ball. Then you got to go on and say, well, you got to rush the passer. Then you're going to go on and say, well, you got to defend the run. Then you got to go on and say you got to defend the pass. They were the worst in the NFL in that statistic a year ago. They are so limited with what they did on the field. But it's all 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The identity of this team has to be toughness. And they have been soft. And they have been friendly in the ditch. 3rd and 1, they ain't picking it up. 3rd and 2, they ain't picking a little bit of razzle-dazzle here. All right, instead of just lining up like a man, instead of just lining up like men, on 3rd and 1 and saying, we're running right at you for a first down. Look at how soft this organization has been the last couple of years. It's pitiful. And it has been identified by James Gladstone. It has been totally recognized by James Gladstone. This thing ain't going to work overnight. It's not a good roster. You've got some starting points. This isn't like Mike Mularkey with no talent. This isn't like Gus Bradley at the beginning of his career with no talent. This isn't like Doug Marrone with no quarterback, even though the 1 year Blake Bortles did catch lightning in a ball. You've got some starting points here. You've got some keys. But you have room for so many better football players. Still, your general manager, and we brought out all the guys who interviewed for this position. And those who are critics, this is accurate, but they'll say James Gladstone didn't interview for any of these other jobs. Liam Coen didn't interview for any. I mean, those are critics. And you know what? That's fine. That is the truth. Don't try to skip that. Still, I'm really impressed by this. And I wish I knew how we gathered this information. I made the point a few weeks back that it almost felt like James Gladstone, during the interview process, and obviously I wasn't there, Baselli was there, Tony Khan was there, Shad Khan was there, others were there, Liam Coen was there. But it almost felt like James Gladstone, while he was being interviewed, was also doing some interviewing himself. Maybe that's the major reason why he got the job. Maybe he recognized, and others didn't, just how incredibly poor they were when it came to being a tough football team. This may not represent in wins in year one. But if you get a team that at least can put together some consistency when it comes to the little things, like picking up a first down on the ground, like not being so damn predictable when it comes to, down in distance. I thought that was the best part of what we got today. And obviously with first-timers, I'm never going to tell you to be patient. I mean, that's cruel. That's cruel and unusual. Anyone who tells you to be patient knows nothing about Jaguars football. Okay? That should be your disclaimer. If anyone ever says be patient, get rid of them. Just move on. Because they do not have any idea what they're talking about. However, be realistic. Okay? It's not going to flip 180. But it may flip 90. It may flip 100. It may flip 110, 150, 120. I don't know. It may. I've given this really a lot of thought. But today, it finally settled in. And the explanation was cool. There's more on this, which we'll get to coming up. Some more sound that we'll play from James Gladstone. But again, you should be thrilled if you're a Jaguars fan. That's the most important thing that this football team has to do. Become tougher, physically and mentally, and get rid of all that slop, get rid of all that dead weight that's been hanging around here, collecting checks. It's fascinating to me, and I don't know who James Gladstone is connected to, but how did he figure all this out? You couldn't tell by watching. It has to be internal. It has to be practice habits, the lack thereof. It has to be body language in your mood within the Miller Electric Center during a losing streak. How did he find all that? Tony Baselli, sure. Absolutely. But who else did he get his intel from? All the other coaches are gone, right? Outside of Heath Farwell. Richard Angulo? Let me see. I think it's just Richard Angulo and Heath Farwell, the tight ends coach, and the special teams coordinator are the only two coaches. There might have been like an assistant defensive back coach or someone like that may have been able to still hang on. But that's very impressive that he was able to get that and really come forward and realize what the biggest problem with this team is in such an early part of his tenure as the GM. Fascinating. And if you can fix this, then you can start fixing Trevor. And you can start fixing your pass rush and your run defense and your pass defense and everything else. But you're never going to take that next step until you get some leaders and some tough guys. So I know I made a huge deal about this, but I'm telling you, it is so important to the turnaround of the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, Shmunez Vision. They get us started right here on this Tuesday night. Don't be dazzled into paying for laser-assisted cataract surgery with the quote-unquote hot new equipment, right? Well, the folks at Shmunez Vision, they have that, but it may not be necessary. It may not be needed. There's nothing worse than paying extra for things that you do not need. Check them out. Just go to their website, Shmunez Vision. Also, it's a very difficult time of year. All right, I felt bad for my girlfriend today. I saw her cleaning up all this pollen in front of the house. I looked outside the window. I was like, boy, that looks awful. Kidding. I helped. Actually, check that. But she's got pollen issues, right? And so many others have pollen issues. And I'm like, go to Shmunez. Stop itching your eyes. Stop scratching your eyes. It's awful. And they'll tell you immediately whether or not you have an allergy. Maybe it is something else. Doesn't matter. They're the best in the business. Check them out online. Go to Shmunez Vision. You can also get all of the testimonials as well by going to Instagram and looking at Shmunez Vision. All right, when we come back, you're going to hear from Liam Coen. You're going to hear more from James Gladstone. We want you to get involved with the program as well. Your best bet, 641-1010 text line, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
I'm Doug Flutie from Boston College.
Throws it down.
And this is 1010XL.
Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it. Oh. It's a touchdown. The Eagles win it.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione. Campione Law.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
Beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. This month, get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet cleaner. You'll get 25% off all cleaning services. That's right, 25% off. Check out 8,000 raving customer reviews if you don't believe me online. Call them, 904-287-5727, or visit their website, ZeroResJacksonville.com. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Looking for comfort with who you work with? Remember, Florida Home AC only hires the best. Background checks and drug screenings for all their technicians, so you can be confident when you choose Florida Home AC. Exceptional services, their guarantee at Florida Home AC.
Before the picks come in, 1010XL will be all over the draft with every angle and option. 1010XL's draft coverage is brought to you by First Coast Recyclers and Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors. Roll through the offseason with AA Automotive.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and it's always great when you can replace a problem with a promise. And let me get right down to it. When it comes to Chad and Sandy and selling your home, here's a promise that you can count on. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Now, more. Spring selling season is here. Rates are down. Activity's up. Now's the best time in years to sell your home. Some homes are sitting on the market, though, and hiring an expert who can maximize your equity and minimize hassle is the key. Those expert agents, and I'm recommending them to sell your home, Chad and Sandy Newman. There have been lots of you out there on the First Coast who are taking advantage. Take David and Heather in Fox Ridge. This is out in Orange Park. We wanted to move to Keystone Heights to get closer to family, away from the city. We heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. What you hear is true. We got multiple offers and sold in 3 days for $15,000 above asking price. Call the local experts I trust and recommend to sell my home and yours. Call Chad and Sandy, 414-6200. ChadAndSandy.com.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
Ballou here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Paying rent can feel like throwing money away. And when you're spending so much, it can be hard to see yourself buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is helping you put your monthly rent towards home ownership with Rent Rewards. For the first time, save up to $5,000 off the cost of your first home just by paying rent. Only at Rocket Mortgage. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Do you know someone looking for a fun and rewarding summer job? Join the YMCA team, gain valuable experience, and make a difference in kids' lives. Turn your passion for this community into a fulfilling career at the First Coast YMCA. Now hiring camp counselors, lifeguards, child care leaders, and membership experience team. Every single person on the dedicated YMCA staff plays a role in making the Y a welcoming and vital resource for our community. Find your career at the Y at fcymca.org.
Equal opportunity employer.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
How cool would it be to be tailgating right now at one of those several bars down the street from New York's Madison Square Garden? Coming up in 1 hour is the Brothers That's right. Celebrating the Allman Brothers. The only living member still alive is J-Mo, the age of 80. But Jacksonville's Derek Trucks is there. Text with Derek the other day. Warren Haynes is there, who is just sensational. His cover with the Dave Matthews Band, where they play Neil Young's Cortez the Killer, is one of the most phenomenal things that you will see online. It's like a 17-minute edition. It's my favorite Neil Young song, and Warren Haynes is just absolutely spectacular on guitar. Mark Quinones is there. I mean, I've told you about Mark before. I was lucky enough about a year ago to have dinner with Mark, Derek, and his wife, Susan, after we played golf. Mark Quinones has been traveling with the Dewey Brothers. He's a percussionist. And what he does, they had a long, what do they call it when you're residency in Vegas. And he would never golf on the day that they would play a show, but he would always golf on off days. And when he came through Jacksonville, and the Doobies did, you know, he played Sawgrass here, but he takes his clubs on the road. And whenever they're on tour, if they're playing that night, that's it. If they're not playing, he goes to one of the best golf courses in whatever town or city they are visiting. To me, that is a spectacular life. And that is Mark Quinones. Mark played, he's played in the Derek Trucks Band before. He's done some work with Susan, Tedeschi Trucks as well. But how cool would that be? Madison Square Garden tonight with Derek Trucks, Warren Haynes, and company. So that is going on tonight and tomorrow night. Tonight, the show is brought to you by Alexander Law Practice. I want to welcome them in. And let me tell you about Rick Alexander. All right. He has made it his mission to fight for you, get the best possible result. We're talking about more than 30 years worth of experience that he and his team have, focusing on guiding you through the entire process, which can be awful. It can be rude. It can be a situation where you feel alone. Is there anything worse than calling and not getting a response? Maybe you're trying to get up with a law firm. They promised you a call back. They haven't. And meanwhile, you're suffering, you're injured. Maybe you were in a car crash. That'll never be an issue at the Alexander Law Practice. They are going to work with you on a one-on-one basis. Also, you're never out of pocket throughout the process. Never going to charge you. That is not the way they work at the Alexander Law Practice. They are there to help you and to get you the funds that, unfortunately, you deserve because you were injured. You're not paying out of pocket. Go to alexanderlawpractice.com if you've been injured, if you've been in a car crash. That's Alexander Law Practice, or for a free review as well, just call them, 400-6600. Dylan Denmark is with us. You heard the entire press conference today. What did you make of James Gladstone and Liam Coen?
I think the only takeaway that I really had, and I don't have to know if they said anything specifically about this, but I had the feeling like they're not going to get anybody that has bad character issues in college. I just had a feeling about that. I don't know if you took the same way or if other people felt the same. I feel like they're trying to get no-nonsense guys that are all in. They're trying to establish the culture, and they're going to try to get this thing rolling here starting next week.
I think it's a fair point, and I think the former regime did the same thing, and it didn't work for them. I mean, Tom Coughlin, Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, they all took on guys who had bad character. They could play. There's the separation. Lawrence Taylor could play. Actually, Andre Rison here could not play, but he would have been an example. There have been some guys around here with some questionable talent. There was Fred Taylor. There were immaturity issues for Fred Taylor coming out of Florida. Look at how that young man grew up and what a fine human being he has turned into. But you can just go through example after example after example of so many players. And I thought the former regime put a little bit too much on that about drafting nice guys. I don't want nice guys. I want winners. I don't mind having guys that are a little bit rough around the edge. I think that can actually help a football team. We shall see. Let's get back to more from James Gladstone. Again, the most important thing that I got out of today's media session was him talking about mental and physical toughness. And, of course, his overall definition of intangibly rich, he also added this.
Physical and mental toughness, like that's a part of intangibly rich, and it's a big part of it. So those two elements will be top of mind. I mean, when you look at our draft day call sheet, the items that we're bucketing in that intangibly rich category are the largest, brightest number and color on our call sheet. And it's because that's where we start. At every point of player acquisition, that's where we start. Doesn't mean that it'll be exactly the order that we select in or pick or choose from, but it will be where we begin every decision.
Another thing that James Gladstone said today that made a lot of sense was when he was asked, why no visits? You can bring in 30 players. Why no visits? Don't you want every opportunity to get in front of a player or players that you may consider? And again, I thought his answer was incredible. Instead, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he has taken the intel that has been put together on a prospect for years. So in this case, it includes the studies that he had in Los Angeles. And I asked him about that today, if he almost felt as though it was twice the amount of work to take everything that you've done in L.A., then come over here and get with, obviously, the intel left behind from Trent Baalke, the intel that's still there under Ethan Waugh, and the scouts in Jacksonville. But it's like you have double the information. You're bringing your L.A. stuff, and now you're combining it with the Duval stuff to try to formulate your plan in your draft board. But his answer was, when you bring a guy in, it's probably their last interview or one of their last interviews. And they're going to be top form, almost to the point where I don't want to put words in his mouth and say it was unrealistic, but he's going to be extra impressive because he's flying in to meet with the team, where you can do a much better job understanding what this individual is like, both on the field and off the field, based on the years that you have sourced information from on that particular player. It once again, it makes a lot of sense. It does. I don't know if I totally agree with it. Okay? I mean, I think if you have the 5th pick in the draft, I'd want to bring in some guys. I mean, Mason Graham has been on your sheet for months. I'd want to bring him in. I'd want to bring in Will Campbell. I'd want to bring in Jalen Walker. I'd want to bring, but I understand why he does not want to bring them in. And that was the second part of what I got today that I did not fully understand before this press conference. And you know what? Depending on how you look at it, it makes a great deal of sense. It absolutely does. We'll see how much, this changes over the years. I thought it was pretty cool, though. And he went on to say that, in his opinion, it keeps the competitive advantage in those regards. Where, mock drafts are all over the place. Rumors are everywhere. But you don't know. I mean, what if they don't even have Mason Graham on their list? What if they're saying, for crying out loud, this is such a deep defensive tackle class, we're going offense, or we're going to pass rusher with Jalen Walker, and we'll address defensive tackle with the 36th pick, or we'll address that with one of our 2 third-round picks. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just speaking out loud here. And for him to say to keep that competitive advantage by not bringing in any prospects, it then becomes guesswork by the other 31 teams. around the National Football League. All right, a couple of other things that James Gladstone did say. He keeps his current schedule, meeting with scouts in the morning and the coaching staff in the afternoon. Of course, scouts have been all over the place on the road, taking in pro days and everything they did. East-West Shrine, it actually wasn't even set by then. The Combine, Senior Bowl prior to that, and, just whatever it is that they have done. Now, finally, that system is in place where he's meeting with the scouts and then getting with the coaches in the afternoon. He said how important special teams are. And I think that, that is fairly common around the league. But it is something that he actually did say. And then one thing that we've had a pretty decent understanding of is James Gladstone feels like he is going to trust the tape more than he is going to trust the workout, right? The combine, the 40 time, the short shuttle, the vertical jump, all of that, okay? You're working out in shorts and a T-shirt. Today, he went on to say that he trusts the data tracking. I mean, he trusts what they do with data tracking as far as their speed running on a college football Saturday more than what he does getting the time 40-yard dash-wise from the combine or for a pro day. So that was kind of a brief conversation today. And again, I know I was under that understanding, and I think a lot of you Jaguar fans were as well, that seemed to be the belief. That's the way it was in Los Angeles with Les Snead, and it feels like he's taken that with him here. Where the former general manager, oh my God. I mean, the former general manager, it was almost as if Trent Baalke didn't watch tape. All Trent Baalke cared about was the science. All he cared about were the measurables. I mean, you got to be a football player. And you get the idea that Gladstone, that is going to be the case. He's going to look at that more as opposed to less. I agree. All right, coming up next, we got much more on the Jaguars, also from America. Dewey Bunnell is going to join us. They're here next week. One of the great folk and soft rock bands of our lifetime. America is next on Into the Night.
Sports sounds better on radio.
I love it. I love it.
You get the most live sports on 1010XL.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Universal Roof and Contracting protects your home and your wallet. Invest in a stronger roof and save big. Right now, get 15% off roof replacement and repairs. Financing is available with monthly payments as low as $115. But this deal ends April 30th. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Boots, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So, guys, keep helping me out and grab a dandy sandwich today.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing, plumbingjacksonville.com.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Out with the old, in with the organized. Mia here for my friends at Closets by Design. Freshen up your home this spring with a custom organization solution. For a limited time, take advantage of our spring special and enjoy exclusive savings on closets, garages, home offices, and more. That's 40% off with an additional 50% off with 12-month special financing through April. Spring on this deal before it's gone. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation with Closets by Design.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low fives, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Walking down the road. Tell me how long you gonna stay here, Joe.
Kind of takes you back a little bit, huh?
Some people say.
Some of you youngsters out there, you need to hop on board.
You don't care.
It's America, people.
I know.
It's our America. America, great idea. Unless you're on Ventura Highway, man. No, thank you. L.A., no doubt. All right, we are waiting for Dewey Bunnell. And as a matter of fact, he's with us right now. How about that? What a thrill. They're coming into town again next week, Florida Theater. 7:30 on April 23rd, and Dewey Bunnell joins Rick Ballou. Dewey, I appreciate a few minutes of your time.
How do you do, Rick? Nice to hear you. You picked a good song there.
Oh, man, I love it. And you guys come in once a year. I've been over there several times. Florida Theater is an absolutely spectacular venue, and you guys always do such a good job.
I agree. Thank you very much about the venue. I hope we do a good job.
Yeah.
We certainly try.
You still enjoy it the way you once did, Dewey?
I do. I still enjoy it. Technically, no, not technically. Actually, we were in our 55th year.
Right.
The band started in 1970, right out of high school. We graduated from high school in 69, and the band just clicked. We were in England. Our dads were Air Force. We were stationed over there. That's the story. You may know that. Maybe some of your listeners don't. But that's how it came about, that America formed in England.
Mm-hmm. And you were actually born in England, but you were raised here for a while. Then you went back across the pond, and you and your friends, all from the United States, formed the band America while you were in England.
Exactly. Yeah, my dad had been stationed in northern England as a young airman and met my mom, and that's what happens. I was the firstborn. I have two siblings. And Jerry's mother, the same way. Jerry Beckley, my partner, Jerry's mom was English. His dad was a colonel in the Air Force. So my dad had to salute his dad on the base.
Songwriting is going to be so incredibly difficult, and I'm just amazed by it. Does it come to you all at once? Do you have bits and pieces that you put down on a napkin or a piece of paper and revisit it later? What's it like going through the process of being a songwriter?
Well, it's funny. If I knew how to write a hit song, and I've written a few myself, thank you, but I would be doing it every day. It's an odd thing. Basically, my physical structure is to find a few chords that I like, that fit together, strum them for a while, hum a melody over the top of it, da 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 da, and then write some words to that.
Yeah.
Here I am on the radio, and so it's a fairly simple process that way. But then there's a lot of fine tuning. You got to write a bridge. Basically it's like three parts to most 3.5-minute songs. You got a couple of verses, a couple of choruses, and a bridge in the middle. It's a fairly well-tried formula, but I don't know, though, what the magic is that makes one song stick out more than others. I've written a lot of songs over the years that I thought were equal to Horse with No Name or Ventura Highway or Tin Man, the songs that I wrote that were hits, but they just didn't do the same thing. It's all about timing and where the world is at the time, I suppose. I just don't know. I got to grab my dog real quick. One second.
All right, yeah. Dewey Bunnell, who, of course, wrote Horse with No Name, now in the process of finding his dog. It's the Encore Tour. They'll be here coming up on April 23rd at just a phenomenal venue, of course. That is the Florida Theater, the rock band America. If you would, for just... Do you have your dog?
With no name. Yeah, I got him. My wife and her are in a hotel, and she had just let him out, and she's indisposed right now. Okay, I got him. We also have a horse, by the way, and you can imagine why we called her Noname, Nonami, because she is the horse with no name. We adopted a wild Mustang from up there in Reno, Nevada, some years ago, and that's been quite an experience because I was never a horse guy, to be honest. I've come to learn. Shovel that manure.
Hey, ever since I've heard Horse with No Name, kind of envisioned myself, lost in a desert on my own. Can you just give us a few seconds of what went into writing that song. I mean, historically, one of the great, I think, great folk or soft rock and roll songs of our lifetime. What was it like putting that piece together?
Thank you. Well, it was a real simple thing, too. It just fell out of me. I wrote several verses to it. It just kept going and going. It was another example of finding a couple of chords. I detuned my guitar to an odd tuning, for some of your guitar players might understand that, and found this progression that kind of worked. But it was about the desert. I love the desert, the travels with my family in the car back and forth from different bases. And my uncle lived, and his family lived in New Mexico. So we would drive across Arizona and New Mexico and the Mojave Desert. And my brother and I spent a lot of time catching lizards and snakes and stuff. So you can imagine living in rainy old England there in the late 60s and then into graduating from school. It was really me reminiscing and kind of, it's like a little travelogue about the desert for me. And that's the way that goes. The heat was hot, and there were plants and birds and rocks and things.
Oh, it's so awesome. And then your love song, in my opinion, Daisy Jane, just a phenomenal love song.
I love that.
Oh, just so spectacular.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks. That was Jerry Beckley wrote that one, my partner. We were originally a trio, of course.
Yeah.
But Dan left the band in 1977. But his contributions are priceless too. But Jerry, we all wrote our own songs at that time. As we evolved after Dan left, Jerry and I would co-write songs. But primarily the basic structure of any song was written by one of the three of us, and then we'd tweak it in the arrangements and the vocal harmonies. Harmonies singing was the magical thing, and we always had loved the Beatles and the Beach Boys particularly for the fantastic vocal harmonies. And that's something you can't plan on either, because every voice is different, like a fingerprint, and it's a great thing if you can get three voices that blend well in a harmony situation. So we just love singing harmony.
Well, and I love listening to it. Hey, tell us about the show coming up here. It'll be April 23rd, coming up here next week.
Yep, we're getting close. Well, I think we've played about 22 songs. Basically, it's most all of the hits combined with some album cuts. We do one or two cover songs. We do a version of California Dreamin' because we were asked to record that particular song for a movie back when. It's kind of an anthem of its own. But we do some Dan Peake songs, of course, Lonely People,
Love it.
Sister Golden Hair, You Can Do Magic.
Oh, yeah.
Basically our greatest hits. We stretch out on a few songs, Sandman, a song called Here of Jerry's from the first album. We have a great band. I can't say enough about them. Our drummer, Ryland Steen, bass player, Rich Campbell, hot lead guitar player, Steve Feckety, and Andy Barr. All talented, all great singers, all great players. They dwarf me. I mean, Steve Feckety has a degree, and I never was a school musician. I was self-taught.
Wow.
But I've loved playing the guitar since I was sort of in 7th grade.
Unbelievable, Dewey. Hey, I have 30 seconds remaining. Leave us with this. Funny, I've been there, and you've been here. We ain't had no time to drink that beer. I'm thinking everything is spot on and great. Then all of a sudden you have us running away from the Sandman. What happened there?
Sandman was loosely based on the Vietnam War. Our albums, all of our first 5 or 6 albums, the Vietnam War was still raging, and we were ripe to be drafted in those days. But we would meet a lot of young airmen or young soldiers coming through the base that were coming back from there, and it's loosely based on the goings-on there, you know.
Wow. I didn't know that.
But it's, yeah, I mean, it was a weird time. Needless to say, it seems like a lifetime ago now, but we were all worried about getting drafted, and we were military kids anyway, so our parents, our dads had prepared us for things. We lived in the military lifestyle and on base and off base and all of that. So that Sandman is about those guys.
Man, I'm so glad I learned that. Dewey, what a thrill. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you out there next week.
My pleasure, Rick. Thanks for having me.
There he goes, Dewey Bunnell of the band America. They will be here at the Florida Theater. That is coming up next week, April 23rd. Again, get your tickets at the Florida Theater.
More touchdowns, birdies, home runs, and slam dunks. More heartbreakers.
Every time you lose, you die a little bit.
And more victories.
And it goes for the win!
1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnik has the largest selection of GMC's impressive SUV lineup and the all-new redesigned GMC Acadia and the highly sought-after Yukon and Yukon XL. Save big with the all-new GMC Hummer EV SUV and truck, plus the all-new GMC Sierra EV. Ask how to get an instant $7,500 tax credit on EV models and financing as low as 0%. Visit the showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. At Terminix, we know how to stop termites. These destructive pests have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so do we. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem? Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to our website, CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com. And let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
Need or want cash? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
Beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. This month, get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet cleaner. You'll get 25% off all cleaning services. That's right, 25% off. Check out 8,000 raving customer reviews if you don't believe me online. Call them, 904-287-5727, or visit their website, ZeroResJacksonville.com. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ain't it foggy outside?
Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
grounded. Ain't the fire inside? Let's all go stand around it. Funny, I've been there, and you've been here. We ain't had no time to drink that beer. 'Cause I understand you've been running from the man that goes by the name of the Sandman. He flies the sky like an eagle in the eye of a hurricane that's abandoned.
Well, tell you what, on the eve of the draft, I can't think of a better place to be than the Florida Theater to see the band America. Unfortunately for me, they're starting at 7:30, so I wouldn't be able to get there until about 8:08. And I'd miss a lot of these good songs. But thank you to Dewey Bunnell. Great stuff. The Encore Tour. I've seen America. They are fantastic. And the Florida Theater is just the gem. Such good people over there. And whenever you get an opportunity to see a concert, I just absolutely love the Florida Theater. It just feels, I think it's one of the greatest staples in town. And I honestly do feel that way. All right, let's get into our second hour. My final show, going to Jamaica at 6 in the morning. So I'll be gone tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. But I will be back next week. And it's going to be a great week. It is. One that I am just completely fired up about. So, the draft is a week and 2 days away. Heard from James Gladstone today. Heard from Liam Coen today. The morning was kind of interesting because, stuff started coming out like Shedeur Sanders is going to work out Thursday for the New York Giants. And there still is that possibility, right? Does a team get desperate here in the next 9 days? And all of a sudden they feel they can't allow a quarterback to get away from them. And obviously the two in front of Jacksonville that make sense would be Cleveland at 2 and New York at 3. It already feels like it's not going to happen for Cleveland, that they're going to go Travis Hunter. They're not going to go the way of Shedeur Sanders. I think there's still a possibility of Sanders at New York. I would never bet on it. But it just felt like, okay, things are beginning to pick up here a little bit. I thought it was a good morning as far as that. Then you heard Travis Hunter say that he would rather quit football than play only one way in the NFL. This young man actually believes that he can play both ways. I will be completely, totally shocked if this happens. I mean, Ohtani couldn't do it, right? With the show, even though he had a bullpen session the other day, you can't go both ways. Not in this league. Not at 185, 190 pounds. He's going to get just crushed. As talented as he is, you're not playing Iowa State. You're not playing Kansas and Kansas State. You're playing the NFL. You're playing the very best, the quickest, the fastest, the strongest at every position, every play. And he's going to be humbled. Yeah, he was a star in high school. Yeah, he was absolutely phenomenal in college. What he did is just off the chart. But he can't do that at that pace in the NFL. And if he can, then consider me shocked. Not surprised, but shocked. I also saw today that it was announced that they're going to retire the numbers of Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. I think it's this Saturday. And you know what? I get it. This makes sense. Has Shedeur Sanders earned it? Hell no. But Deion Sanders is smart enough to understand you might as well do this now, because in a year or 2 years, when Deion Sanders is the head coach at Florida State, they're never going to bring back Shedeur Sanders and retire his jersey then. So you might as well do it now while he still is the head coach of Colorado. Travis Hunter, obviously, yeah, you retire that number. How do you retire Shedeur Sanders' number? He was a very average quarterback at Colorado. The Dolphins are talking about trading Jalen Ramsey. $21.1 million guaranteed for the remainder of this year. He's already been paid a $4 million option. A lot of people have asked me, what do you believe? Should the Jaguars be interested? Well, here's where I am, okay? I'd love to sit here and say, yes, I have no ill feelings towards Jalen Ramsey. He is what he is. He's going to spend 3+ years at a place and burn the bridge. He did it at Florida State. He did it in Jacksonville. He did it in Los Angeles. I guess he's in the way of doing it right now in Miami. He is one of those type of players. Great football player, but you can only get him for a couple of years. My understanding is this. $21 million is guaranteed for this year. It'd be the 7th highest salary for a cornerback in the NFL. All right. Next year, he has a $5 million injury guarantee on his $21 million salary for 2026, which would become fully guaranteed along with a $2 million roster bonus on the 3rd day of the league year, which we know is, mid-March. It is pricey. I think Ramsey, at this point, I think he's got an opportunity to do what Deion Sanders did. I think he's got an opportunity to do what Rod Woodson did. I think Jalen Ramsey, later in his career, would be better suited as a safety than as a corner. We've seen him getting beat a little bit as of late. I think he only had 1 interception a year ago in Miami. I still think, you look at his instincts, you look at his overall raw ability and his talent, he still is a really good football player. Do you want to pay $21 million, however, for a safety? So I'm going to take a solid pass here on Jalen Ramsey. I am. And, what are they going to ask for in return? You're not going to get a first-round pick for Jalen at this point in his career. You're not going to get a second for Jalen Ramsey at this point in his career, certainly when he's hanging on to that type of salary. When you look at the draft compensation, one of those 3rd-round picks would make sense. If Jacksonville is to give up a 3rd-round pick for a proven football player and a guy who maybe isn't dominant anymore, but certainly is above average. And again, I think the possibility of him moving to safety, the former regime around here actually considered playing him at free safety. Remember when they started with that? They didn't know if he was going to be a corner or a free safety. I just think it's a way to extend his career. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But it's too much money. It is. For an aging guy, I just wouldn't pay that amount of cash. That's a little bit too much. So I would say Jacksonville is not in the mix. But you notice that my answer has nothing to do with how he left here. That is irrelevant. Okay? This is James Gladstone. This is Liam Coen. This is Tony Baselli. This is a totally new coaching staff. This is a totally new front office. There's not one player on this team that was there when Jalen was here, I think. Right? Was Josh Hines-Allen here? I don't even know if Logan Cook was here the year that Jalen actually was selected. Let me see if I have.
He was traded in 2019. In the middle of the season, so Josh Hines-Allen was here.
Okay. Josh Hines-Allen was. Here we go right here. They gave us a great, Jaguars PR staff gave us a great release today. They do this yearly, and it really was put together well. The 2016 draft, Jalen Ramsey, Miles Jack, Unique Ngakoue, Sheldon Day, Tyrone Holmes, Brandon Allen, Jonathan Woodard. All gone. Fournette, Cam, Dwan Smoot, Dede, Blair Brown, Jalen Marquez Williams. What a crappy draft. Fournette and Robinson gave him a little something. Taven Bryan, DJ Chark, Ronnie Harrison, Will Richardson Jr., Tanner Lee, Leon Jacobs, and then Logan Cook in the 7th round. You want to lose weight? We'll do a show coming up where we'll go through the drafts and we'll just puke together. Okay? That'll be the best way to lose weight. We will just go through draft pick through draft pick through draft pick. And it is insane. All right, 2019, Josh Hines Allen. Juwan Taylor, Josh Oliver, Quincy Williams, Rock Armstead, Gardner Minshew, and Dontavius Russell. Yeah, I think the only one that would still be here would be Logan Cook and Josh Hines Allen. Right? You said what year was he traded?
2019.
Mm-hmm. That's it. 2 players. I can't see Jalen Ramsey having a problem with Logan Cook. I can't see Logan Cook having a problem with Jalen Ramsey. I can't see Josh Hines Allen having a problem with Jalen Ramsey. I can't see Jalen Ramsey having a problem with Josh Hines Allen. Those are the only 2 who remain. But you notice I kept that out of my mouth. That's gone in this league. Okay? That's gone. Tom Coughlin's gone. Dave Caldwell's gone. Does he still have a problem with Shad Khan? Does he have a problem with Tony Khan? Well, you know what? I'm sure James Gladstone, if he considered making that move, would ring the bell and ask Shad, we're considering doing this. It's going to make this football team better. Your thoughts? And I do not know this. I have to believe that everything that the Khan family has been through, that they are so over that. In that if they have put the trust in James Gladstone to fix this organization, and he believes that Jalen Ramsey is going to help him, going to absolutely sign off on that. But I still think he's too expensive. And you know what? For what it's worth, this football team can afford it. They've got the money. You don't have to redo Trayvon Walker right now. You don't have to redo anything right now. Let me find the latest here before the break. This is according to overthecap.com. Right here today, Jacksonville has $29,312,000 under the cap. You can pay the $21 million. You could bring in Jalen Ramsey right now for this year and for next year. Again, I had it spelled out to me earlier today because sometimes these numbers can kind of go sideways on you. Let's just pull up Jalen's deal. Jalen is signed through 2028. Yeah, these numbers are funny. They're monopoly money. You know, I know it's. Let me find this again. $21 million this year. It would be $21 million in 2026. I don't know if you can get out of the contract in 2027 or 2028. And how much is that going to cost you? I'm looking right now at a dead cap money figure of $11,700,000 in 2027. Well, if you got 2 good years out of them and you had to pay $11,700 in 2027, it's not like it's rare, right? Look at what this organization is doing right now in dead cap money. They're paying Brandon Sheriff $13.8 million not to be here. They're paying Christian Kirk $13.65 million to play in Houston. They're paying Evan Ingram $13.5 million to play in Denver. They're paying Roy Robertson Harris $7,700 just to go away. He was such a bad guy, they said, just go away. Just go. That's $46.7 million for 4 players. 13 apiece for Sheriff, Kirk, and Ingram. So if you're worried about 11.7 for Jalen Ramsey in 3 years with the way that the salary cap goes up every year, they could absolutely pull this off. Give me your thoughts on that on the other side. Also, give me your thoughts on anything you've heard us talk about today involved with James Gladstone and Liam Coen. All right, with you till 8 o'clock right here tonight on a Tuesday edition of Into the Night.
The Gators, the Knowles, the Dogs, and the Canes. College football starts and ends here. 1010XL. 10XL. 10XL. 10XL.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging? Spring is here, a time to renew. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, here to help you look and feel your best with minimal to no downtime. Rejuvenate your skin, strengthen your core, and sculpt your body with advanced face and body treatments designed to restore your youthful glow and confidence. Just in time for spring and summer. A healthier, more fit you starts now. Visit dermagnify.com and step into spring looking and feeling your best.
For over 5 decades, a true American band. This is America. Encore Tour 2025, an unforgettable evening with America. April 23rd, Florida Theater. On sale now at floridatheater.com. America, live in concert. Produced by Outback Presents.
All right, gentlemen, we've trained for this. We've battled the elements. But if there's one thing we can't afford, it's letting the heat take us out before the big game.
But, Coach, the AC at my house is busted. I barely got any sleep last night.
Well, Johnson, you should have called Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. They're the real MVPs. Now let's cue the cool music.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. The coolest cats in town.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, you have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits. You have the right to choose your own doctor, too. And I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation, the auto accident experts.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Jacksonville, you know a good defense wins games, and a good fence protects your home. Frank Frangie here. Coil Fencing has been around the block since 1927. Literally, they probably fenced it too. From tough chain link to sleek aluminum fences your HOA will love, Coil is the name to trust. Nearly a century strong and still standing tall. Call Coil today. You can trust them. Call 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E Jacks.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, letting you know that Hardball now offers web stores, so your employees can order their own branded gear, and you have more time for Wordle. Check it out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Where on your body is the weenus? The answer next.
When you call Southern Oak and file a claim, you'll be handled by our hand-picked vendors who will analyze any roof, storm, or water damage. It'll save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The weenus is your elbow skin and can be pinched as hard as you want, and it will never cause pain.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your next round of golf with us. Our welcoming atmosphere and love for golf keep our friends coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The people have spoken, and most of you out there are like, nope. Hell no. 6351, I don't want Ramsey back here for free. Totally new organization. I think he's going to be better. They'll make that move. 60-65, Ramsey should be a safety and a damn good one with the Jags. Should have no interest. 2236 says, I'd rather take a swift kick to the, let me throw in a word here, berries, than have Jalen back in Duval. Dude, fake the back injury and quit on his team. You, sir, are correct. 28-35, I'd never bring Ramsey back. Injury prone with a knee, don't even think about it. Okay. 37-40, Ballou, Ramsey is the way he is because of the conversation you had with him when you told him to be the villain. I don't know if I remember. I'm getting a lot of feedback as well on the interview I did with Dewey Bunnell. A lot of people enjoyed that. Great interview. One of the horses no name thought it was about heroin. Maybe it is. We really didn't get an opportunity. He kind of explained it. He was a little bit more thorough on Sandman, how that involved the Vietnam War. But I just, and I'm partial here. I've changed with everything in the world. I mean, my radio show is different now than it once was. Everything I do is different. Look at me. I'm totally up to date on fashion, pop culture. I read. Okay, I watch TV with you folks, White Lotus. I mean, no matter what it is, I'm up. I'm current. Okay, except for my music now. I go back decades and decades and decades. I just feel as though the songwriting was so spectacular back then. There were stories, great depth, great detail. And that's the only thing I'm never going to change on. I've been asked before, do you get sick of the same songs? Well, there's some that I do get sick of. There's probably a list of like 50 classics that I just no longer can listen to. I can't listen to America Pie anymore.
Do you have like a playlist, or do you just like, you get in the car and then just search the music you want and just go from there?
If I'm not listening to us, I go to satellite and I go and listen to, classic rock. And there's a variety of different radio stations to choose from. But Sweet Home Alabama, I can't do it anymore. I know it's a Jacksonville band. I can't do Piano Man anymore. There's just too many of these songs that I just can't do. Anyway. I don't know if I want to get into that. 78-45 regardless. No, I don't want to do that either. Love you, show people forget how I was say no, I let him clean. I don't know that. 31-16, Jalen brings so much juice to the locker room. Yeah, I remember Jalen's last time I saw him in the locker room was in Denver when our plane got delayed. He sat by himself. Off in the corner, trying to force that trade. It was very selfish. He knew at that point that it was over. And it was isolated. What he did was awful. Just terrible. But I think in this league, this isn't like a marriage. This isn't like a, something that your spouse did to you. This is business. And he was wrong. The way he handled it was wrong. But I think with the years that have gone by, you can repair it. This isn't a crazy conversation when you talk about Jalen Ramsey and the Jaguars. It's not. It's not a popular conversation. But I also think where you are as fans, you got to let it go. You got to do whatever it takes to win. Yeah, I just said at the very beginning of this show that if anyone ever tells you to be patient, you should just leave them as fans. Go somewhere else and listen to someone who has a clue. But I'll also tell you right now that at this point in getting to year 31 of your fandom, whatever it takes, brother, whatever it takes. If James Gladstone and Liam Coen and Tony Baselli was here, I was his radio broadcast partner. I was part of the Jaguars radio network during the whole Jalen Ramsey, his entire career. If they believe that he makes this team better for 2 years, you have no choice but to support it. You're a fan, right? I mean, you can voice your opinion as you've done, and I'm still getting them coming in. You're saying no, no, no. But if they make the move, it becomes yes, yes, yes. You think the New York Yankees wanted Roger Clemens? Well, no, until they got him. Right? I mean, that's the way that it goes. It's still about the jersey. It's about the name, the Jaguars. The players come and go and come and go. I get it, it's not popular. But I'll also tell you this right now, because I know fans. You can be a total hard ass and pound the table and say, no, I won't support them. And brother, if C.J. Stroud is in the pocket in a 21-21 game and Jalen Ramsey picks it off and has daylight and takes it back, you are going to lose your mind. Those are facts. And he would bring a little something to the locker room. Jalen was a pain in the ass in the locker room. He was surly. There were times he didn't want to talk. Who was that big lineman next to him? Jeremy Parnell was next to him. He used to get all pissed at the media because we were crowding around his locker.
Were you at his locker whenever he had that legendary quote after he battled Steve Smith? You tell me who got who's ahead after the game. That was so funny.
Well, we saw the soundbite where he goes, well, there's always money, brother. Whatever he called me, homie, or my guy. I think he called me my guy.
Sounds right, yeah.
There's always money, my guy. 5661 says, Roger Clemens didn't lie and give up on his teammates. Worst kind of player. Roger Clemens was a terrible player. Roger Clemens lied to everyone, including the grand jury. I was doing national radio in Chicago, and I was on Houston every night, Sports Radio 610, where Roger Clemens played the role of, what Aaron Rodgers is doing right now. Cost them, who was the great, I can't remember his name. He was going to decide whether or not to come back to Houston, but he was waiting on the Roger Clemens situation. I think he ended up going to the New York Mets. Can't think of his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. One of the better players to ever play for the Astros, not named Biggio or Bagwell. Clemens held them hostage. Clemens also got fat in Boston and was just a few games over 500 his last couple of years when he went to Toronto, rededicated himself, took steroids, and won 2 Cy Youngs. Roger Clemens.
I found that quote, by the way.
Which one?
This one right here.
Was any explanation given to you as why? I mean, they don't have the money now that they've had in years past.
Money's always there, my guy. Money's always there. But like I said, that's all I'll say about it. I'm happy to be here. I want to be a part of the team, but it won't happen this year. I'll just say that.
Jalen was great for a period of time. I mean, away from it, we'd have conversations about Florida State. That was back in the days when Florida State was relevant. And I always really liked Jalen. Obviously, I had an agenda because he won a national championship at Florida State. And I thought he was a phenomenal athlete. But he certainly did go sideways. 5255 Blue, does your GF like your music? Also went to the Blue Crab House last Sunday. It was awesome. The GF likes a lot of my music, yeah. She always goes to me to the shows that I go to. She likes a lot of Christian music. She likes some country. I mean, she's from Texas, so, you know. But, yeah, I mean, all the shows that I go to, she goes to. Appreciate you asking. 5717. I love Jalen. I actually didn't have an issue with what he did. The organization was toxic. It was trash. Some losing franchise would be awesome at safety. I don't think he has it anymore, though. So that's why I would pass. And that's kind of my reasoning here. I don't think he's a shutdown corner anymore. I'm talking about moving him to safety. And you're paying a guy that amount of money to be a safety. That is crazy money for an aging player. It's going to be an interesting conversation. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler. Jalen Ramsey, a Hall of Famer. I mean, what does he have, like 32 career interceptions? He really doesn't have Hall of Fame numbers. And if he keeps going from team to team, I mean, who's he going to go into the Hall of Fame as? A member of who? L.A. because he won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, probably. 24 interceptions, by the way, for him.
24? That's it for... Let me see. That's insane.
10 with the Jags, 16 with the Rams, including one in the playoffs.
That's not enough.
And then 2 only in Miami. Wow.
That's not enough. I honestly think he'd have an opportunity to have more interceptions as a center fielder, as a safety. Let's look at this real quick. I know you just pulled it up. He got here in 16. 3.5 years in Jacksonville. That's it, man. 3.5 years in Jacksonville. 9 interceptions in Jacksonville. 10 in L.A., and he's played in Miami for 2 years and has 5 picks. 24 career picks in 135 career games. And I know there was a time where there was a little bit of the Deion Sanders, well, his numbers would be much higher, but they don't throw to his side of the field. That's not the case like it once was. So... that's a lot of cash, man, for a safety. What is he? He's 30. He'll be 31 October 24th. So, too much money for me. But this organization can afford it. But I would take a pass. I would. And we just had the conversation right now. I got to believe that that's part of their... that's part of the gig, right? I mean, Gladstone, Coen, Baselli and company have to have had a conversation about Jalen Ramsey. They have to have sounded it out. You know, the pros and the cons. There's not a lot of pros for Jalen Ramsey outside of the fact that you're banking on him still being a very productive player. The cons are when things go bad, Jalen goes bad. He gets injured. And he costs a ton of money. But I'm just under the belief that the way that he exited here doesn't even come into it. I mean, that happened midway through the 2019 season. In NFL years, man, that's like 20 years in the NFL. Again, as far as I know, there's not one coach here, and there's 2 players, Logan Cook and Josh Hines-Allen. So, anyway, appreciate all your input on it. Sure, there's a lot of broadcasters across the country right now in a lot of different cities throwing out the same what if, right? Now, the other side of it, does Jalen want to come here, right? Does he want to be a part of being in Duval? I would think at this point in his career, he'd want to go to Baltimore. He'd want to go to Philadelphia. He'd want to go to San Francisco. He'd want to go to Kansas City, right? Isn't that kind of what you... I mean, he has won before. He won at Florida State. He won in Los Angeles. He also played for a winner here when they went to the AFC Championship game. He cried on the bench because they lost. I know that when you think of these players, the first thing that comes to mind, and I get it, is the cash. It's the money. But there are guys who still care about winning. Seems like I don't go 2 shows without bringing up the fact that this football team accepted losing. Well, a guy who did not accept losing was Jalen Ramsey. He freaking cried on the bench. All right? He hated losing. That's one thing. If you were to write 10 things down about Jalen Ramsey, that is going to be absolutely one of the first things that you put on there. This man hates losing. Never forget when I was a sideline reporter and I was pregame. I went over to the New England sideline when Brady ran out with the quarterbacks like he used to do, and Jalen was over there chirping. Pregame, Foxborough, Massachusetts, man, that was one of the highlights of my, nearly decade as a sideline reporter. That was intense, man. That was spectacular. Jalen was in his second year, and he was all over. Arguably the greatest player to ever play the game, just in his kitchen, verbally. Can't even tell you what he was saying. But anyway, that was that. He's long gone now. He's in Miami. Let's put a final touch on things. I'm going to the Jamaica in a few hours. Should have asked you for a cocktail of your choice. I'm not a big fruity guy. Those frozen drinks.
Pina colada?
Yeah, I like the Bushwhackers, or I like mudslides. I like that. When I do these do the Sandal resorts, and then, very, very late at night when I smoke cigars, I like to drink some Bailey's Irish, let me try that again. Bailey's Irish Cream. After all the beers. But those frozen drinks, man, they go straight to the head. They really do. There's like 5 different rums in there. And they always have their specialty. But it's kind of good, kind of cool in those swim-up type bars. So I'll do some of that out in Jamaica. Haven't been there in a little bit. But this is my last show. So I'll be back on Monday, and what a week to return, because, of course, that will be the NFL Draft.
Because radio is supposed to be fun.
Feels kind of like the first day of spring training for Little League here.
1010XL.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
All right, Ballou here. Let's get real for a minute. Losing weight isn't exactly easy, especially when your life involves being surrounded by good food about everywhere that you go. That'll include Jamaica, where I go in the morning. However, down 13 pounds, feeling sharper, more energized, never hungry. This isn't some juice diet, starving yourself nonsense. I'm eating food that tastes great, even when I'm out on the road. I'm going to be out on the road in Jamaica. Be very interested to see how things go. And then when I return, exactly how I get back into real life situations. Well, you know what? I feel really good about it because of Awaken 180. They give me the game plans. Temptation is everywhere, yet I've been able to work my way through it. Again, down 13 pounds. If you're tired of carrying around extra weight, tired of diets that don't work, join yours truly, Hacker, Dempsey, and Hayes. Go to awaken180weightloss.com.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success. Experience MJ the Musical at the Jacksonville Center for Performing Arts, April 22nd through 27th. For a chance to win tickets, text MJ Fans to the text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
Every morning that you wake up in a pest-free home is a good morning. And with Florida Pest Control's Pest-Free 365 Plus, you can. It's more than just a pest control or preventative maintenance plan. It's Florida Pest Control's promise that we'll be there providing pest-free living for your family all year long. To learn more about Pest-Free 365 Plus and to get your free quote, give us a call or visit flapest.com today and choose Pest-Free Living with Florida Pest Control.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Zach Breyer. When my dad started in business in 1990, I wasn't even born yet.
That's true. And after 35 years and nearly 20,000 satisfied customers, we literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, or you're looking to transform your home with new flooring, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites, or better yet, do yourself a favor and stop by one of our showrooms on Phillips Highway to experience the Lifetime difference and receive 20% off your purchase.
Ballou here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship-trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Do you know someone looking for a fun and rewarding summer job? Join the YMCA team, gain valuable experience, and make a difference in kids' lives. Turn your passion for this community into a fulfilling career at the First Coast YMCA. Now hiring camp counselors, lifeguards, childcare leaders, and membership experience team. Every single person on the dedicated YMCA staff plays a role in making the Y a welcoming and vital resource for our community. Find your career at the Y at fcymca.org.
Equal opportunity employer.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppable bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppable, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
DUI, BUI, don't stress. Call me Malcolm Anthony. 2854-LAW. That's 2854-LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Prosser here. Spring has sprung, and it's a great time to sell your house, but only if you have the very best on your side, and those very best are Chad and Sandy Newman. Spring selling season's here. Rates are down. Activity's up. It's the best time in years to sell your home, in fact, but there are homes sitting on the market. They don't have the right representation. That's where Chad and Sandy step in. Maybe you're worried your home needs repairs or updating and it won't sell for a good price. Maybe your family's growing and you need more space. Whatever the reason that you need to sell your home, Chad and Sandy deliver this promise to you. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Sounds pretty hassle-free to me. Take it from Mike and Rosemary in St. Augustine. We were determined to buy an affordable home in a specific school zone, but we didn't qualify for the loan needed to get one. Chad and Sandy's team worked with the lender, negotiated a higher qualification price, lower interest. It was huge, $200 less per month. Do it today. Call 414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
And today was all about James Gladstone. It was all about Liam Coen. They met with the media 9 days before the National Football League draft. It is here. And, boy, it got to us pretty quickly, didn't it? Going to be a great week. Next week, the first 3 days of OTAs out on the field. Still haven't received any information as to whether or not there'll be media accessibility. And then, of course, Thursday for the draft, I'm heading out first thing in the morning. So I'll be gone tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. I will tell you that next week, I'll have my normal show on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 to 8. The day of the draft on Thursday, I am going to join Hayes Carline and Hacker Nation. We'll do a show from 4 until 7. And then we'll flip over to the Jaguars Radio Network for all of the draft coverage. That is awesome. I mean, just spectacular to be able to talk with you folks for 3 hours leading up to it, and then have plenty of time to get into my own confines to sit back and watch what is going to happen with the NFL draft. And then we'll be back Friday at 6 o'clock. And remember, the draft begins at 7 o'clock, I believe, on that Friday night. So the Jaguars, while we will be on the air Friday night, will be making their selection with the 36th pick overall. But, you know, you got to believe right now, if you start to acquire information, it's probably bad information, if that makes any sense to you. I mean, all the good stuff is in, and, you know, you can start to get into a scenario where all of a sudden something is discovered, or, you know, you're out late doing something, and that is the one thing that if you are an agent, or, you know, you're part of an agency, you're just telling these $1 million prospects to button it up for the time being, because there have been plenty of examples over the years of guys who have blown it in the last couple of days leading up to the draft. All right, we got playing games tonight. Atlanta and Orlando just underway. The Hawks up 15-14, 5:49 to go in the first quarter there. Coming up at 10 o'clock tonight, Grizzlies and Warriors. So the NBA playoffs officially underway, and we're really winding down in the National Hockey League. By the time I'm back next week, we will officially have the start of the National Hockey League playoffs. Most teams have played 80 to 81 games, which means they only have 1 or 2 regular season games remaining. And the NHL playoffs will certainly be right around the corner as well. All right, that's going to do it for us here on this very busy Tuesday night. First things first, though, let's get ready for this.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
All right, Hacker Nation, what'd you make out of James Gladstone and Liam Coen today?
Yeah, obviously I have a lot of thoughts on it. You know, I think James Gladstone is kind of embracing a couple of his sayings, which I kind of got a kick out of. You know, the intangibly rich, I think, is you need to get T-shirts made, you know, intangibly rich Jaguar fans. And look, I think all options are still on the table. Defensive line, offensive line, Jalen Walker, Ashton Genty. I was 90% confident it was Mason Graham probably 72 hours ago. Probably 80% confident it's Mason Graham now.
Yeah.
Just the more people you talk to, the more things you read, the more things you hear. Could Jalen Walker be in play? Could Ashton Genty be in play? Could one of those offensive linemen be in play?
Yeah, what if he's been on those mock drafts for months. What if they don't love him?
Right.
What if in a very good defensive, what if they like his teammate Kenneth Grant better and they figure they can get him at number 36?
Or what if they're chuckling, every time these mock drafts come out and they say Mason Graham, Mason Graham, Mason Graham? Because we don't know. We have no frame of reference. This is Gladstone's first draft, Liam Coen's first draft as members of the Jaguars. I did think it was interesting. I forgot who asked the question, but kind of putting their stamp on this organization by making this first pick next Thursday. It'll be Gladstone's first pick as the Jaguar GM, Coen's first pick as the Jaguar head coach. And they said they had talked about that. It's a big moment for them making this first pick next Thursday.
Well, there's no doubt. And he kind of smiled about that when he was asked. He'll be remembered for that first pick. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of memories of first picks around here outside of Tony Baselli. I mean, I don't think anyone remembers Trent Baalke for being the guy who chose Trevor Lawrence. That kind of just rolled down the the river, if you will. All right, so that coming up tonight with the Jags. What else you got?
Yeah, obviously Orlando, Atlanta, and the playoffs or the play-in. We'll keep people updated on that. Boy, there's a good one tonight between Golden State and Memphis. It's one of the problems with the play-in, right? You got two 48-win teams going at it, whereas Dallas and Sacramento are the other two teams in that thing in the West, and they're 10 games behind Golden State and Memphis. So there's some pros and cons. We'll certainly talk about that. Also talk about the Nico fallout in Knoxville, little Gator spring football as well.
All right. Have a fun night, Hacker.
Thanks, Rick. Enjoy your vacation, man.
Well, thank you. That's going to do it for me for a couple of days. Just taking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. Be back Sunday night to Jamaica. Thank you to Dewey Bunnell. There's a really good chance that I get all fired up in Jamaica at some point and listen to some old school America. Remember, they'll be here next Wednesday, April 23rd at the Florida Theater. Just an outstanding place to see a concert. Thank you to Dewey Bunnell. Thank you to Dylan Denmark. My name is Rick Ballou. Again, I'll be back Monday.